If you're like me, you want to work with your own parts so that your daily life improves. So what can you do in a solo IFS session to support and make that more likely? All right, you are going to learn in the next few minutes 3 different ways to close your solo IFS session so that your parts trust you more and more, and that you can have a connection with your parts when you're going about your day. Hi, I'm Lucille Aaron Wayne, certified IFS therapist, Jungian, and art therapist. You can find me at seekdeeply.com for lots of resources. The first thing we can do when we are coming to the end is, first of all, let me mention, it's important you know roughly how long you are going to be doing IFS on yourself, and or it's important that you not be forced to end suddenly. If you are going to come to a close, then you tell your parts, if you're writing, you'd be writing this, okay, there's about 5 more minutes, or I'm going to be ending soon. And the first thing you can ask is there a particular way that part or parts wants to close the session? Maybe there's something the part wants to tell you that it hasn't gotten to. Maybe it wants to ask if you really understand something. It could be anything. The important thing you're doing here is you are giving your parts a heads up so that you're not suddenly dropping them after an intimate, meaningful connection. So this is very important for making your parts feel like you are reliable. And while your mind is fresh before you hear the next 2 questions, please let me know in the comments below, how have you been ending your solo work if you've been trying it? I'm really curious to learn from what strategies are working, or maybe if they're not working, you can still share it and let me know. The second question you ask your parts, is there something you want to request of me between now and the next time I'm in this inner world space? The ideal thing would be if you have some idea of when you're going to be meeting your parts next. So perhaps you're in IFS therapy with a therapist, then it could be, all right, between now and Tuesday when we meet, what would you like me to do, if anything? Do you have any requests? Or if you are working on your own more independently and you're doing a solo session each month or each week, then same thing. What would you like me to do between now and next week when I'm back here with the journal and with you? The idea is that they're going to say something specific. It could be something like, be nicer to us. That's okay. But you want to encourage them, if they ask that, to say, okay, what would that look like? Can you tell me something specific I could do? Because be nicer to us, it's hard to remember, and that makes it less likely you're going to be able to do it in regular life if you're not remembering. Actually, I'm going to share one with you. When I was doing a session a few years ago, a part said, when you have to pee, do it. Don't put it off, because I was so focused on my clients that I maybe would get the urge and then I wouldn't do it in my break. So I'd see another client because I'd be preparing for them. Then I'd see them. Then same thing. And so I would go hours without making that bathroom break. And it was not good for me. So a way that my parts wanted me to not just show, but build my commitment to my physical health, to caretaking and attending, nurturing myself physically, was this specific request of, when you need to go to the bathroom, go do it. This leads us to another important consideration. You invite your part, you kind of prompt your part. Of course, it's not mandatory, but you say, is there a request you have of me between now and this other time? It's time bounded. If the part asks you something like, drop everything you're doing and go to the bathroom the instant you feel that you need to, you may not be able to realistically do that. Another common request I hear from clients' parts is, if I, the part, am upset, I want you to drop everything you're doing and do a session right then. Okay, that may not be possible because maybe you're going to be at work. Maybe you're going to be with some people that it it's just not logistical, or it's not really emotionally safe that you go and do an IFS session on yourself the instant the part wants it. This takes us to the process of negotiating with our parts and bringing the reality principle, bringing ourselves. So the key to this question is not your part asks you something and you agree. When your parts ask something, that doesn't become a mandate. It's not a test of, are you in self? Do you have self energy? Are you capable of healing? If you are, yes, do exactly what the part asks. No, it's like any relationship. The part asks something and then you respond. You don't need to have the perfect answers. If a part doesn't like what you're saying, it's going to tell you that. And just as with any other person, you see if the two of you can come up with an idea together. And if you don't, if there's no agreement, then you're just honest about that and say, all right, it looks like we haven't figured out what will work. I know what you want. I've heard that. Maybe we can both see if there's another solution. And you'll see in the moment in regular life what happens. Often these sorts of questions work under the surface in our unconscious and solutions pop up. But again, we want to be focused more on the process, more on the relationship with our parts when we're doing self-directed IFS. It's that relationship that is the biggest healing force that you're tapping into. It's not the outcome of, oh, did this part feel happy with me at the end of the session? Or, oh, did the part and I come up with a perfect plan? What your parts are learning when you engage in this dialogue is they're learning that they can trust you. So we had the first trust building of you giving them a warning and you showing your respect for them by asking how they want to end things. It's a collaboration. You're not just dictating, this is what we're going to do. They have a voice. And here you're building trust by showing, I'm not going to give a fake promise or an unthought through pledge. I am going to let you know what my limitations are. That's part of a real relationship. Is each party has their own limitations and communicates that to the other. There can be a misinterpretation of IFS that if we are healing, if we're in that space of self-energy, then we are all powerful and we are perfect. It doesn't work like that, especially if we're wanting to bring this healing into daily life. You are yourself, you're human, you're a mixture of lots of things, of the wonderful compassion and wisdom and strength and confidence of self and other human things as well. So if you can bring that and acknowledge that to your parts when you're doing IFS on your own, it's going to help them trust that what they're seeing is what they're going to get. Now we are at the third question. This is a very exciting one. The question you can ask your parts, is there a way you want to communicate with me to get my attention in daily life? How can you let me know that you want my attention? How can you wave a flag? Maybe it's a red flag, maybe it's a purple flag. How can you show me that, it's a reminder to pay attention. It's like a little alarm maybe you set on your watch or your phone. The kinds of ways a part may choose to communicate can range. It could be they send you a physiological experience or symptom. So it could be that if your part wants your attention, it's going to send you a jolt or chills or a headache. It could be the part will make you suddenly cold. There's just an infinite number of ways a part may choose to use our bodies to signal to us. And in fact, our parts, probably your parts, are doing this all of the time. We just don't know what the signals mean. So it's a special opportunity near the end of a session to ask a part if they want to pick a way to communicate with you, because it's informing you consciously so that when that happens in regular life, you know what it means. Those are the physiological symptoms. A part can also send you an image or a song that you hear in your head. And for some people, that's very powerful. Maybe the image is of the part itself or of a child who's resembling the part. Maybe the image is actually a memory that just keeps coming to your consciousness. Maybe you find yourself humming some kind of song. When that happens, you think, the part is sending this to me. Finally, the signal a part might choose to send you is a feeling state, an emotion. This is a little more challenging because many parts can send and do send, have access to the same emotions. If you've seen the movie Inside Out, it's a children's movie and it's very IFS informed. The different parts in the main character are named according to different feelings like anger or joy. And that is actually not the way it works with our parts. Typically, all of our parts have access to joy if they want to use it, if it's appropriate, or anger. However, a part may choose, I'm going to send you anger when I want you to hear me, when I want you to know I'm around, or if I want you to do something. Maybe the part connects when I signal to you, that's the time I want you to carry out this particular request. Have you had a physical sensation or an emotion come to you that you now believe has been sent by a part? Please tell me below. I read all of the comments and I'm really fascinated by the different methods our parts use to get our attention. Now, a fun story is the kind of most out there recent request a part of mine has made. One of my parts, it's my part that I actually consider my shadow. I combine IFS with the Jungian approach of Carl Jung, and that approach says that we all have a shadow, something that is in the darkness. It's not in the light of our consciousness down here. One of the ways we can understand the shadow is that it's actually a character, like a figure. So one of my parts is a very distinct shadow. It's a also female version of me that's quite different, almost like a nemesis, at least when I first started getting to know her. So my shadow made the request that I dance in these YouTube videos. She said she was so freaking bored with me just talking, and she was not gonna help me do the videos unless I made space for her and danced. Now I have a good relationship with her at this point. Usually when we first meet our shadows, we don't like them. She told me that and I said, all right, I'm on board. If you're gonna help me with these videos, then sure, we can dance. She wanted to show the joy, there's that word again, that I have now, my whole system has, now that I have reached a certain amount of healing, and she wanted to do something kind of, it's not, sacrilegious isn't the word, but she wanted to do something that was like not taking myself so seriously. And, you know, showing anyone who wants to watch that I don't care if I make a fool of myself. I just love dancing. And I hope that comes through. It probably does to some of you. If you want more of these specific techniques and strategies, you can click on the link below to my website and download my free audio guide. It takes you through doing a solo IFS session. When you are ready to really comprehensively delve into doing IFS therapy on your own, click on my video, How to Hack This Form of Therapy, how to do internal family systems on your own parts. We're going to go much deeper there. I will see you at that video. Thanks for watching.